Hi, my name's Simone and welcome to Rocket OT. Today's video is an introduction to occupation. As an occupational therapist, I'm often asked what is occupation and by proxy, what is occupational therapy for those who've never heard of our profession. So launching straight into it, occupation, as much as some of you might have the idea that it's just a job. When you go to a doctor's office and you fill in a form and it says occupation, most people will write down their job, but not everyone will write down voluntary or paid employment. Other people will write down other roles that might be important to them, as a caregiver or a parent or a student. So that kind of gives you a clue off the bat that occupation isn't just related to paid employment or to voluntary employment. Occupation, in the context of occupational therapy at least, I know the more common vernacular is different, and I guess that's where we struggle as occupational therapists. An occupation is something that occupies your time in a really sort of meaningful and purposeful way. So it's something that you either want to do, it's something that you need to do, or it's something that you're expected to do. And it happens within a context. So it happens within a certain time and a certain place. People often interchangeably use the word activity, that occupations are activities that we do, and they are, but there are specific types of activities. There are activities that are meaningful and purposeful and contextualized. So I think, if you think of the activity of surfing, for example, so, going out into the waves, getting up on a surfboard and catching a wave, that's kind of an activity, but the occupation comes about actually doing it at a particular beach at a particular time of day. Who else is around you? What's the weather like? What are you wearing? All of those different bits and pieces feed into the occupation. So it's not just the activity of surfing, it's all of those things that get you in and out of the water safely. So as an occupational therapist, I support people to engage in occupations. So to engage in the things that they want to do, or that they might need to do, or that they're expected to do. That's pretty simple, really, when you break it down like that. But when you think about, how much variety and how individual we are as different people, and at different stages of our lives, and at different within different cultural contexts and different social contexts, you can start to see why it gets a little bit hard to really define our profession in a succinct term. Because someone like me who works predominantly with children or with people with disabilities out in the community works on very different occupations to someone who's maybe working in a hospital context, in an acute setting, or potentially in a rehab setting, or who's working in an aged care facility, or who's working even in a private hands clinic helping people who have had injuries to their upper limb. So it does, I guess, that's where it gets a little bit confusing and murky. But if you can think of something that you do that is, holds some sort of meaning and purpose for you, it might not necessarily be something that you like or enjoy doing. Unfortunately, life is full of things that we have to do because of obligation sometimes. But that's where OTs like to come in and try and modify the occupation in a way that does make it a bit more meaningful and purposeful to the individual. Talking about toileting and cleaning the house, and some of the less glamorous sides of life, sometimes can get a little bit I guess boring for some people. Not for us as OTs, we love it, but we try and make it interesting by modifying the task, by seeing which little steps of the task might be going astray that, you know, that might be making it difficult. How can we zhuzh them up, make them a little bit more fun, or just make them easier so that then that person can go on to do those things that hold even greater meaning. You know, in order to, going back to surfing, in order to go surfing, you need to be able to get there, you need to be dressed. You know, our society says that we wear clothes when we go out. You know, you need to dry yourself afterwards, otherwise you'd be pretty cold. You need to find your way home, you probably need to be able to fuel your body, so, you know, eating is then tied into it as well. So you can see how step by step, you know, even then drying out your wetsuit afterwards so that it doesn't get moldy, you know, all these different things, like the less glamorous parts of the occupation then help you do the things that are really, really meaningful within it. So I hope that answers any sort of burning questions about what occupation is. Really, I just narrow it down and say it's anything that occupies your time, that you know, that's meaningful and purposeful. I try and keep it simple, but of course we can always like add more or take more away from different definitions. All right, well, thank you for your time today, and I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are, and thank you once again. Bye.